Hello Sword Fam, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Brittany. For this video, I'm going to give you a play-by-play commentary of my performance at CombatCon 2022 in the open cutting tournament. The first feat I was expected to perform was with a longsword doing continuous descending cuts with the true edge without stopping. It had been several months since I had done this feat, so I was a little bit nervous, but I was going to give it my best shot. So deep breath, and oof, first cut is a miss. Good. Not a great performance from me. I've definitely done that feat better, but I've also done that feat a lot worse. So let's take a look at what I think went wrong. Something that I definitely did wrong was stepping first, planting, and then just using my arms to cut. That's a big no-no. You want to cut with the whole body together. I'm not able to just power through a mat with my arms, so that definitely set me up for failure on the first cut. However, I was really proud of myself for being able to have a failed cut and not get psychologically rattled by it and be able to pull it together and perform 3 good cuts after that. That's a huge improvement for me. I remember that used to be a problem where I'd make a bad cut and sort of just be totally tilted and couldn't pull it together. This next feat I had to switch swords for. I'd use an arming sword for this. It's the same feat that I did before, so still doing the continuous descending cuts with the true edge, but now it's just with an arming sword instead of a long sword. This was definitely my stronger feat in this whole cutting tournament. For whatever reason, I actually have a much easier time cutting with a single-hand sword than I do a two-handed sword, so I definitely utilized this feat to my advantage to try and gain as many points as possible to make up for the fact that I failed my cut in the first round. As a general safety note, please do not jump with sharp swords in your hands. I don't know why I do it. Please don't do it. Here we go. First cut, miss, good, mountain, good, good. And now we analyze. First cut, I just missed the targeting. Second cut was good. Third was good. Then I get a mountain. A mountain is when you've cut into a cut that you've already done and you get penalties for it. So I just keep cutting, got another good one, another small mountain, and I finish it off with 1 and 2 more good cuts, and I didn't hit the spike, which would have been another penalty. Thankfully I didn't, and I managed to just get the last bit of mat, getting a total of 7 good cuts on this mat, making up the points that I needed. The next feat has me going back to using a longsword, and this is going to be Semaphores. You can't see them in the video here, but there is actually going to be a person standing across and facing me, and they are going to be signaling with a baton what cut I need to perform, and I have a time limit to perform that cut. There is some strategy that goes into Semaphores cutting. You want to get as many cuts as possible, so if you fail a cut, it's not over. You can keep trying. You don't actually lose points, you just don't gain points. And you'll see that strategy come through in a little bit here. I am asked if I'm ready. I indicate that I am, and now I just wait for the semaphore to indicate which cut I need to perform first. Looks like it's a Unterhau. I get it. It's a little bit flying. The piece goes further than I'd like. I make up for it with a good Oberhau there. Not bad. Waiting for the next cut. That was actually pretty good too. It maybe flew a little more than I'm comfortable with. That one was good too. Didn't get too far away from the stand. Happy with that. Another good one. It flies a little farther than I'd like, but I'll take it for the points. I get that one too, and now this is where the strategy comes in. I miss, but I don't lose points, and I feel like I just have to wait for the right moment to get a cut that I can make. I get that one, I get partial points for the mountain, but I'm confident I can do it. And that's the one that I needed. So I get partial points for that. It wasn't a great cut, but I didn't hit the spike, and I didn't lose any points. So overall, good round. Fortunately for me, I was able to gain enough points in the first 3 feats that I was able to advance to the next round. So a lot of people ended up getting eliminated after those first 3 feats, but I ended up advancing, And then I went and fought Sword and Buckler, which is why you can see me like gearing down. And I was so adrenalized and just pumped from fighting Sword and Buckler. I just did an elim match that I lost. So I ran over to cutting. They were all waiting for me. Everybody's like just waiting around for me to get my pants off. And I'm kind of a mess. I'm shaking before I do this next feat. I made sure to take off the fencing pants because the suspenders actually can get caught in the crossguard of my sword. So just for a safety thing, I like to take them off. And here I am panicking because I don't know where my sword is. I don't know where I left it. And I gotta go find it. Thankfully, I did find it. And now I am ready, kind of. I'm nervous, I'm anxious, my hands are sweaty. This feat is a difficult one for me. It takes a lot of power generation, and that stand is taller than I am. So I wasn't sure if this was gonna actually work or not, but I figured I was gonna give it the best shot I possibly could. I surprised myself. It went way better than I thought. It wasn't perfect, obviously. I pulled that mat a little bit. They were able to straighten the mat, and when the two mats come together, I actually realized my cut was actually not too bad overall. I'm asking them if I can rotate it and do a different cut, and they're telling me no, I have to go right ahead and do a rising cut from that same angles, that opposite side. And again, another one I really struggle with here, so I did the best I could. I make the cuts, but they are not super good cuts. They're not super clean cuts. You can see me shaking my head. I know I did not do that as well as I could have. I scooped it a little bit as I came up instead of just keeping a nice straight line across the whole trajectory. I knew what I did wrong. I'll fix it next time. All right, getting the thumbs up from the table that I can continue on with my next cut. And I just barely missed that second one. I get through the first one, which is great. I'm not sure why they decided to take that second mat off and make all the adjustments. They probably should have just left it, but you know, whatever. I'll take all the help I can get at this point. So I would have gotten partial points for making it through one mat and then not getting the points for the second mat. Setting up for the rising cut. This one's much harder. Nope. I get the first one. Again, I'll get partial points for that. But I think what had happened is I had cut through the first one and then started to pull my hands back, and then that kind of pulled the power away, and I didn't get enough sword on that second mat, so I ended up failing that. So despite having a few failed cuts in the previous rounds, I actually did make it to finals, which I was super grateful for. I was sitting in the 3rd seed overall, and only the top 4 had advanced to finals. That's why I have this lovely outfit change as well. This was the next day. It's not like I'm like mid-tournament just changing my outfit every single time. Doesn't work that way. So this first round of finals is called Unique Cuts. I need to perform as many unique cuts as I can on a single mat. I need to call my cut before I do it, and I cannot repeat any cuts that I've already done. So my first cut is going to be a rising false edge from my right. Some people might call this a zverkow of sorts. It is successful with some minor deductions. Obviously, lifting the stand like that is not ideal. I want it to be a lot more smooth, but we'll try the next one. It's going to be a descending from my left. We'll see if we can make that one work. As I try to explain to the judges the directional force of my cut before they can approve it. And I get it. That one was a lot better than my previous attempt, but the piece went flying a little bit more than I would have liked, but I still made it, and that's okay. So now I'm going to do a descending false edge from my right. There's a little bit of strategy here. I'm trying to utilize as much of the mat as possible by alternating the direction that my cuts are going.
Ready.
And that one was definitely better than the first two. I was really happy with that one overall. It went a little further than I would have liked. Again, that seems to be a common problem for me, but still really smooth and good overall. And now this is the moment where I take a really big risk. I still have a good amount of mat to make multiple cuts, and normally I would just end with 2 middle hows and play it safe, but I knew I was behind on points, and if I really wanted to get a medal, I needed to have at least 3 more cuts. So I was going to take a risk and do another rising cut from the opposite side, thinking that even if I failed, at least I tried it, and I still had enough mat to do 2 more good cuts on it with my middle hows. So I was going to try and attempt a cut that I actually have never been successful doing before, and I wanted to channel my friend Julian Schutze trying to do it in a tournament, and like I said, this was a huge risk for me. And it doesn't pay off. That was the moment where I knew I had lost my chance at winning a medal. Even if I wasn't going to win a medal, I still had one more round to complete, and that was the double cut combination. So you can see them spiking the mat, and I'm just staring at it going, what is going on? I did not want that mat to get yeeted again, but I took another risk. At that point, what did I have to lose?
Would you like a respike?
They had offered to respike my mat, and I had declined for a very personal reason. I had spent some time working on dealing with badly spiked mats so that I could cut them in a tournament no matter what, even if I got screwed with a bad mat. So I focused on the challenge of making my Unterhau work, and work really well. Almost too well. I missed my second cut entirely. And, like I said, I ended up coming in 4th overall, not winning any medals, but having a lot of really awesome strides in my own progress. Being able to keep my mental game all together without tilting after bad cuts, and also being able to cut mats that weren't really well spiked and not getting psychologically tilted by that either. Overall, really happy with my 4th place finish, and I'm really looking forward to the next cutting tournament, whenever that might be. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and always thank you so much for your support.